AI-generated art is here, and it's only gonna get better. Before it completely takes over, I'd like to take this chance to explore the potential merits and dangers this new tech presents us. Welcome back to Otaku Daikun. Dai here. As I said in the intro, today we'll be talking about the emergence of AI-generated artwork, specifically how it relates to anime artists and what it might mean for the future of our fandom. I can't help but feel a bit blindsided by how these various algorithms have emerged and how good they've become so quickly. How did Jeff Goldblum put it? They were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. I think that's a very apt quote going into this discussion, but I also don't think the future is necessarily all bleak, depending on your perspective. First, let's talk about what this AI tech is and generally how it works. I made a previous video poking fun at AI-generated Fate fanfiction, and while it was really funny seeing what wacky stuff the computer came up with, we need to admit how impressive even that one website is. It's got a lot of kinks to work out, such as maintaining a sense of continuity or being able to differentiate individual characters and their genders. But considering how fast the program pumps out content, its potential is almost scary. As soon as those minor bugs and glitches are fixed, we'll basically have a machine that pumps out interesting stories in seconds. That said, there's definitely an argument to be made for whether these programs are actually creating anything original in the first place. These sorts of AI operate by sampling a vast pool of already existing content and regurgitating that content in a newly arranged fashion. If you feed it newspaper articles, for instance, it'll start writing works that feel like news articles. It imitates what you taught it, and part of that learning process is selectively choosing which of its creations are the most desired. If you want AI to create you an image of a fish, you'd feed it tons of pictures of different fish, and then let it create a whole slew of randomized permutations. You then tell the AI which of those generated images actually looks like a fish, and the AI prioritizes it. The more you repeat this process, the more the AI will consistently generate images that match what you're looking for. Essentially, this is digital evolution. We selectively breed random elements until they take a recognizable form. This means that, while we may laugh at all the mistakes the computer makes, like giving humans too many fingers and such, it's only a matter of time before those mistakes disappear. We've reached a point where AI can produce some insanely good images of anime characters, essentially generating fan art that's legit competitive against what artists currently put out. To be fair, for every decent piece of AI art, there are often hundreds and thousands of permutations that missed the mark. If you want these algorithms to produce something very specific, you've got to hold their hand throughout the process. While it's still a hell of a lot easier than drawing something by hand, it does require some research and effort to learn how to get the results you want. On one hand, this technology isn't surprising at all. Human behaviors get replaced by machines all the time. Entire trades have died out as businesses would rather automate a process if it means not having to pay employees. This might seem like choosing quantity over quality, but there are many instances in which machines do a better, more consistent job than humans ever could. We tend to associate value with things that are handmade, but there are also people who actually prefer the automated stuff. That's why this world is filled with too many managers and service industry jobs. After all, what good are humans when machines are simply better? For the longest time, however, we've seen art and creativity as a bastion of humanity, something that can only be practiced by intelligent life. To that end, does AI-generated imagery even count as creativity? All it's doing is stealing a bunch of stuff and mashing it up into a new arrangement, right? To that, I have to ask, how is the art that we create any different? I don't believe there is much of a difference. The things we create are made using ideas and techniques derived from reality. The tools we use are all tangible, and all of our inspirations are based on our experiences. I don't believe there really is something quite as pure as an original thought. We're always drawing from our experiences, mixing and matching aspects of reality to produce new arrangements. Even the most random and unrealistic creations require some understanding of our world. Otherwise, we wouldn't know what to leave in, alter, or leave out entirely. Thus, asking an AI to draw a picture based on a set of pre-existing photos is the exact same thing as asking a human to draw a picture based on what they experienced in a given day. Of course, this leads us into another profound issue: plagiarism and the ethics of sampling. Even if we acknowledge that an artificial intelligence can create things just like we do, just how unique do those creations have to be to escape the wrath of copyright? I can definitely understand an artist's aversion to AI, especially one that directly samples their work. If the artist hadn't made their work, the AI couldn't have used it, forever altering the sorts of things that AI could produce. In that case, shouldn't the original artist share some of the credit or profits that software makes? Regardless, we're gonna see a lot of people's art being sampled for free and without permission. I can't even imagine how someone could enforce laws against that. Still, I can also imagine an ethical business model. If the people developing an AI work with artists, they can create a paid algorithm that is ethically sourced, where the users know that when they generate art from it, the original artists get some cut of the earnings. At the very least, it might be a way for major studios and the like to generate art assets without fear of being sued. Originally, if you wanted that artist to make something for you, you'd have to commission them, which is expensive and time-consuming. They may not even be available or want to draw the types of things you want them to draw. With a much faster and affordable option, potential customers might instead choose to just pop your name in as a keyword to generate something based off of your art style. In court, one could argue that being a lost customer, even if the art is created entirely for free. At the same time, I can play devil's advocate and reason why artists don't deserve any cut at all. When factories build machines that replicate behaviors humans once performed, you don't see the original employees getting a cut of the profit just because the machines were based on their technique. That, and something as general as an anime character, may be too vague to claim ownership of. Even your own art style, if replicated by someone else, may not count as plagiarism. If an AI samples your art, but combines it with hundreds and thousands of other artists, as long as the end result isn't a direct copy of your prior works, or anyone else's for that matter, shouldn't that still count as an original piece? Plus, you didn't have to sit down and actually draw it, so there's no loss of labor there. I guess it depends on what you find ethical or not, but as the current laws stand, games like Rock Band can exist even though they mimic Guitar Hero, and other rhythm games can exist even though they all borrow elements from Dance Dance Revolution. Hell, how many different spiky-haired anime guys get to shoot fireballs from their hands? Would Ryu be plagiarizing Goku? What about all the fighting games that use the same mechanics first pioneered by Street Fighter? Should Capcom get money every time a character fires off a projectile? My point being, we copy each other all the time, and there's a reasonable boundary where we should be allowed to do so as long as we make it our own somehow. We've been talking about respecting the artist, but is it possible that the people who make and use these AI programs also count as artists? Just as an AI-generated work can't exist without samples, it also can't exist without the software that processes that sampling. Furthermore, the specific image that gets shown to us is the product of a user knowing what variables and keywords to enter into the AI. The computer creates a huge list of images, and it's up to the user to curate the results and present them to the world. Perhaps the keyboard warriors pioneering this tech are the artists of the future. After all, an artist who uses tools isn't necessarily any less of an artist. You're still a painter, even if you use store-bought paints. You're still an artist even if you draw with a Wacom tablet, rather than learning how to build your own tech. Next, I want to talk about the potential consequences of normalizing AI art in society. Ultimately, I think it might lead to a decline in appreciation for the arts, or at least traditional techniques. AI will give us such convenient access to content that we'll take it for granted. We already see this with consumer goods. Imagine going to a developing nation and purchasing a hand-woven basket made by a classical artisan. Some people will definitely see the value in that, but for a public that just needs a bucket to toss trash in, a mass-produced, machine-made version of that same basket will be much more available and affordable. In that same way, we'll reach a point where AI-generated art will satisfy most of our creative needs. Going to an actual artist or craftsman to make you something will become a novelty. Rather than a place of business, their workshop or studio will be more like a museum or tourist attraction. That said, we still do value authenticity in certain sectors. We place a lot of importance on food made from fresh ingredients, prepared by seasoned chefs who elevate their dishes with culinary artistry. In that regard, I imagine we'll still see some value in man-made art, but it definitely won't be the same market. Heck, this might even give NFTs a purpose, existing to verify that a certain image did indeed come from a human artist, though I suppose any form of authentication would suffice there. One might also wonder, if traditional artists all go away, what will the AI have to sample anymore? Personally, I'm sure we'll reach a point where AI is producing work all on its own. It may use humans as a starting point, but through its various random mutations, I bet an AI will introduce new styles and ideas that we could never match. You can take a human artist, let them travel and experience the entire world, training under countless other artists, and then follow their development over a lifetime. You could do all that, or get the same amount of growth from a machine in a single day. That begs the question, if computers are so easily able to outmatch us, why even bother with art anymore? Turns out we've already confronted this dismal situation through an awesome sci-fi anime called Time of Eve. You can watch it either as a series or a compilation film with a proper English dub. It tells the story of Rikuo, an ordinary human teenager in a world where AI-controlled androids are commonplace. He used to love playing the piano, but lost all motivation when a robot wound up winning awards. There was no longer any prestige to be gained from playing well, since technology outpaced his own capabilities. As a result, he takes his frustration out on the family's android, Sammy, buying into society's discrimination of artificial intelligence. The anime deals with the differences between man and machine, showing that even androids have valid feelings and emotions. Ultimately, Rikuo starts playing the piano again, not because he's trying to be superior to anyone else, but because it makes himself and the people dear to him happy. Thus, while AI might prove dismal to artists in a commercial sense, I don't think our pursuit of the arts will be drowned out entirely. For a lot of us, art is less about the product and more about the process. We do it for ourselves, and so long as we create a society where artists can pay their bills while pursuing their passions, things should work out. That said, making a living from art can be a nightmare as is, and to that, AI still does pose a huge risk. The same economic forces that cause an artist to charge for their work are the same forces that potential customers will feel when choosing to generate art from an AI instead of actually paying for someone else's livelihood. How can society adapt so that nobody has to give up their passion just because it doesn't put food on the table? As awesome as AI art is, I wish our daily lives could also benefit from such rapid improvements. Until then, we'll be navigating some very difficult, truly uncharted waters. For now, I genuinely appreciate the wonderful works anime artists make. I hope to keep that appreciation alive, even as I optimistically observe AI and its rapid improvement. It's both exciting and worrisome at the same time. That's enough about me, though. What do you think about AI art? Do you see it as a threat or an opportunity? Do you think what these programs are making even constitutes as art? Lastly, given the issues we're currently facing, what would your ideal vision for the future be regarding anime art? I look forward to hearing your opinions in the comments below. Thanks for watching!
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing the video, subscribing to Otaku Daikun, and
most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content.
You can support us directly through Patreon, Subscribestar, or our YouTube membership, all of which come with benefits like exclusive vids and early access.
As always,
celebrate your fandom!
I want to give a special shout out to all my $10 and up supporters: VideoGamer75, Stephen Elak, Samuel Gersten, Otaku Mom, Jens Bauman, Mystic Samurai 1983, Lord Omagoden, Free Brick, RNGer Shuffles 1498, Alexis Yukio Gomez Yamato, Johnny Tsunami, Link Pendrago, Brandon Baker, Observer Bellis, Flash Daniel, Caitlin P, Vladimirovna, Normace, Jonathan Padua, The Taz 96, and SF Giants fan Mike. Thank you all so much.